to, is this on? Is it on? Can you hear me? Yeah, it sounds like it's on. Okay, it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. Miss Victoria Whitehead is a native of the Texas Panhandle, growing up in Hartford and Canyon. She is a graduate of Texas Tech and Texas Tech University School of Law and is licensed to practice law in the state of Texas. Currently, Ms. Whitehead serves as the General Counsel for the High Plains Water District, where she is responsible for assisting and advising the district on groundwater law and policy issues, grant acquisition, state and federal compliance, and legal matters that face the district. Please help me welcome Ms. Victoria Whitehead.
Hi guys, how's it going? I'm very proud to start this conversation off with, I am an attorney for the district, but I'm not going to talk to you today about legal stuff. So that coffee you got will be good to get you through the rest of the day, but I promise it's not to get you through a legal presentation. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I intended to co-present this presentation with Jason Coleman, our general manager, but it took Catherine Drury and I about 3 hours to get here from Lubbock today. The roads were quite intense. We do not plan in Lubbock well on highways like y'all do up here. So today I'm really excited to share with you about the High Plains Water District's Assistance and Irrigation Management Program, or AIM program. And so kind of just quick overview, we're going to talk about the program, going to talk about the grant process, program management, and kind of what some of our results have been the last 2 years. And I know I came in on the tail end of Director Pop's conversation, but I hope this kind of paints a bigger picture for you guys when it comes to what the legislature does when it comes to assisting regions of Texas in the financial need for developing water strategies, water projects, implementation, to the Water Development Board, who's kind of like our bank that takes that money from the legislature, puts it into different strategies and programs, and then subsequently the district as that kind of regional person who helps get it out to ag producers. So we kind of had a question earlier about state flooding and stuff. Well, this is kind of something like that when it comes to getting state dollars into agriculture. So the first part of this is really a lot of where I help out the district when it comes to the grant application process. So the Texas Water Development Board has a specific fund called the Ag Water Conservation Grant Funding Program. This program is a line item in the Texas Water Development Board's biennial budget out of the Texas legislature. It's been, I'm going to look at CE and Steve, I think it was started around 2005-ish. And when you go back and look at the legislative history of this program was originally made to assist in development of getting equipment out there, particularly meters and soil moisture probes. And so this program has evolved throughout the years, but also helps when it comes to conservation demonstration programs and various things. But what happens is the Texas legislature each year says, here, Water Development Board, here's a specific amount of funding for this program. Water Development Board then makes rules to implement the program and uses that funding to give to political subdivisions to implement strategies for water conservation. So High Plains, the last 3 funding cycles, has requested funding from the Water Development Board and has been awarded grant funding. So I have a 3-for-3 record right now on grant writing for this program in the district, which I'm really, really proud of. But we submit a proposal to the Water Development Board, kind of telling them this is what we're wanting to do, this is how much we think it costs. The Water Development Board has a meeting, they award grant funding. The Water Development Board has awarded grant funding to the other GCDs that are present in this in here. We've got Master Irrigator Program at North Plains, metering and cost share funding for irrigation equipment in Hemp Hill and Panhandle as well. We then enter a contracting phase where we got to work out the commas and all the quotes and stuff, make sure everything's right, and then we initiate a program. So this is kind of what the last 3 years looks like when it comes to taking state dollars and transitioning it to producers. So in 2017, 2018, and 2019, basically, we've been able to bring over $600,000 of state funding directly back to constituents at the High Plains Water District. This ends up being a three-person type partnership. You've got the Water Development Board, who dedicates those state dollars, the producer, who does the 50% cost share match, and then the district, who donates in-kind services to implement the program. So High Plains, kind of below our share, you can kind of see some of the various things that we provide. So we do producer education, we help in the equipment deployment process, and then we do conservation data collection and reporting. So this is sort of the workflow for this program. So what the AIM program is we pay 50% of cost share funding for telemetry equipment. When I came on with the district, this funding, again, was used predominantly for meters, soil moisture probes, and other types of things. And in our district, that's just not something that necessarily people were wanting. So when we asked producers, what do you want? What equipment could help you increase conservation and groundwater management in your local entity? And they were wanting Lindsay field net systems, ways to take technology and move it into the agriculture production phase. Sorry, I should have said that earlier before this. But basically, this is the workflow program. High Plains will receive applications, we'll assess the applications. For these three programs, we did it on a first-come, first-served basis. Really, we did that because we had no precedent to show if people would even be interested in the program or interested in the product. Each time that we launch this program, we have fully expensed the funding and applications within 2 to 3 days. And we end up getting applications that almost double or triple the amount of funding we even have in the program. So these are some of the examples of the qualifying equipment that we do. Zematic has various programs. Lindsay FieldNet is kind of our main system that we have. I'm seeing a lot of producers shaking their heads. These are very similar systems that you guys know and understand. When it comes to drip systems, it's the EC3 controllers. So the qualifying equipment for this program ranges from anything as simple as just GPS monitoring. As long as it's telemetry, it qualifies. So to know the GPS location of my center pivot to my cell phone alerted, all the way to some of these EC3 systems, I mean, $40,000. They have sensors hooked up with various zones. I mean, it's almost like some sort of spy movie with a screen, and we can control and get alerts and know every data point when it comes to our water application. The program also covers some of the side equipment that's necessary for running these controllers, so pressure transducers. And then we also do implement monitoring and control technology for localized weather monitoring. So tipping rain buckets, rain gauges. We've done a couple weather stations as well. So I'm going to show you just kind of where our equipment is located. So our district runs all the way up to Potter County, portions of Deaf Smith, Randall, kind of up in this neck of the woods. And what we kind of see here is there's a large concentration of systems in our Round 1 program down in the southeastern corner of the district. And I can tell you we had one gentleman out of Floydada who hustled the program. I mean, he had customers who needed this equipment. He helped them get applications. And when I said first come, first serve, I mean, he had 30 applications on my desk within like 2 hours of launching the program. So we have a huge concentration down here. You can see the difference we have in pivot versus drip. Now, there are 315 locations in our program. The numbers associated next to these locations are the pieces of equipment we identify. So when we cost share fund for this program, a producer agrees to participate for 5 years. So we come out and we inventory the equipment. We take pictures. We get a GPS location for each point. And so the numbers next to these are actually the points. So one of these center pivot systems, for example, may be a Lindsay FieldNet plus 2 pressure transducers. So 3 pieces of equipment per system. But like I said, 315 total equipment locations. Round 2, again, still concentrated in our southern and eastern county. counties, and basically, I mean, like I said, dealers being great salesmen, getting this information out there for the district. The district then noticed, okay, if we want this program to be successful, if we want to adequately give producers the opportunity to participate, we need to separate this out a little bit. So what the district did was it separated out counties based on irrigated acres and designated a certain portion of funding for those counties with specific irrigated acres. And then the district worked very, very hard. I put in a lot of miles going to Parmer, Castro, Duff Smith, educating producers and educating irrigation companies about the program. What I did find, really though, is in our northern counties, this equipment has been implemented and has been kind of traditional for a solid 10, 15 years. You know, maybe it's not as high tech on the cell phone type deal, but AgSense, for example, is something that is a very common piece of equipment found all over Castro County. But what we were finding, though, was producers, a lot of the control technology and monitoring technology that was out there was now outdated. I mean, so we kind of were starting to get to see, okay, this is the type of equipment we have, what we're cost sharing, but it's got a 10-year lifespan-ish. My irrigation dealers are probably going to get mad at me if I say that, but it's got a lifespan, though. I mean, technology changes every day. So overall, this is what the spread of our program looks like. And again, we have concentrations of various types of programs, various types of equipment in different areas, and a lot of it is dealer specific. So the program is managed kind of in this tiered system. Jason Coleman, our general manager, obviously covers it. I'm the program lead on it. I wrote the grant, and so I kind of have the experience of understanding the different components that we have. And then I manage 4 different divisions within our office to help implement High Plains' share of the program and working with producers. One awesome thing that I love about our program that we have is we have internal IT development and IT support. So we've been able to take this program and match it to the technology that the producers are used to. So what we're doing is we're encouraging producers to become more tech savvy, monitor, control, manage your system via cell phone. So we need to match that. So our program, you apply, you sign in our local agreements, and you submit your annual report all online. We had internal staff develop this program, this website database, and this is where Jason Coleman would have been really great to talk to you guys because he knows the technology language a lot better than me. But this is also phone compatible, so working with producers, it's been a great benefit, especially when it comes to annual reporting. They can pull out their cell phone and within 3 minutes submit their information and be on their way. We're trying to provide the convenience as a groundwater district for them. So what does the data collection look like? And again, we've got to think about this in a big picture setting. The legislature gives Water Development Board and High Plains Water District funding to implement strategies to better groundwater management and conservation in Texas. Well, that end of the line is actually a circle back to the legislature. So each session, at the beginning of the legislative session, the appropriations committees have hearings, and the Water Development Board is asked to come, okay, Water Development Board, tell us the successes of the money we've given you. So it's a big circle back. So when it comes to data collection, again, we do this online, and it's unique data per participating field. So I'm not going to ask the guy who added rain buckets the same question I asked the gentleman who did the Lindsay FieldNet system versus the young lady who implemented the EC3 controller. Each one has different data points, and each one has different benefits that it provides in groundwater conservation and groundwater management. So we ask those questions in more survey type form to help get more accurate pictures of what that looks like. This process is stepped through. It's very simple, and users at the end of it are notified of their total conservation. I went to law school. I did not go to math school. So this is a slide for Jason Coleman. But basically, when the producers are entering their information, on the back side of this database, there's formula equations. Y'all are going to laugh at me. There's formula equations, and it calculates this groundwater conservation. But really what it's looking at is conservation in 3 ways. One, putting the equipment on, how much does it help you conserve when it comes to the natural occurrences of managing your systems? So I don't know what it's like in all areas, but one of the frequent things that we hear in our district is I manage multiple center pivots, and each one is more than 15 miles away from the other. Like, they're not all right next to each other. So I check one center pivot a day, and it wouldn't be till the next day that I would hear if there's an issue with the district, or an issue if I had a leak or something. So my center pivot would just be running water for 24 hours or 12 hours until I checked it next. So that's kind of a conservation that we talk about there. Then we have conservation when it comes to rain alerts and rain management. So if I receive alert on my center pivot that I'm getting rain and I'm monitoring it, and it looks like enough rain that I can alter or possibly turn off my irrigation, what does that conservation look like? And then finally, conservation based on using scheduling equipment and understanding kind of the whole grand scheme of things. If I'm getting soil moisture data that shows I don't have to apply as much and it's coming to my phone and I'm getting this data daily, can I change my irrigation habit? Can I produce the same crop with less? So this is kind of some of the results that we're getting. And this doesn't paint the best of pictures, but part of this is too, us taking this data back to the legislature and saying there's not one program, there's not one technology, there's not one technique that's going to be our saving, solution for conserving irrigation water. 2018, 2019, in most of our district, rain came at the wrong time. And it was something like, and many of our producers said, I was never able to turn off my center pivot. Or if I had zero conservation, it was because my crop hailed out late June, and I didn't go back with anything. I went and planted some grain so I could have some cover crop for the next year. And so we see total conservation here, 0.73 and 1.0. But then if you go to the right, you see conservation system alerts. So that's looking at, okay, if I get the alert and I'm able to go mitigate a leak or something, what is that that's that conservation. And then on the right is the rain conservation. So there's hardly any conservation that's coming from rain, but that's the reality of what happened the last 2 seasons. What column is missing here, though, is scheduling assistance. So that other level of conservation that we see when producers implement the scheduling assistance technology with this equipment to help them make decisions on groundwater application. So that's kind of where we're going next with the program. So obviously we're going to have to look at the impacts on the state water plan. Region O and Region A, the 2 regions that cover the High Plains Water District and the Panhandle, I know Region O is 90% irrigated agriculture. Region A's got to be close to that. So our state water plan, our groundwater management, our groundwater, looking at those strategies, those water management strategies, has to look at irrigated agriculture. So this program is one of those that we're taking back to the legislature and saying, okay, producers want this type of equipment to help better manage and conserve their groundwater. This is the data that we're getting that's showing the effects of it. Again, we believe that we got to partner with our producers. Ask them, they're the ones that are boots on the ground. They know what's happening. They know what their soil's looking like. They know what their crop's looking like. Producers have to make a crop. So there's going to be years where the conservation is slight. There's going to be years where it's going to be great. So educating them, though, also on the available opportunities that they have to better implement other technologies, such as irrigation scheduling, implementing other types of tools to help them make those decisions. So this program, I've got 3 rounds in. High Plains will not apply for another round of funding for this year. We want to kind of keep these 3 right now and see where our data goes. But we will have producer reporting data for the legislature through 2024. Again, next level irrigation monitoring technology. I come up to the Amarillo Farm and Ranch show every year, and I love it. It's a great show. But every year I come up, there's a new technology for water conservation. So part of our decision of not continuing is because not adding another round of funding is because we want to see where this is, and we want to see what that next step is, and versus kind of dragging something on a little bit longer. But again, the majority of our irrigation conservation that we have seen has been in implementing this scheduling technology. And Dr. Jordan Bell, I don't know if she's still here, we've partnered with her and A&M AgriLife. There's a lot of really cool scheduling tools that are going to be coming on the market in the next couple of years that the conservation on them and not only the conservation on them, but the ability for that producer to produce a really awesome crop is really going to be great. So that's about all I had. I talk a little bit faster. We had a full 30 minutes because Jason is a little slower in talking. But I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I'm sorry I didn't have the engineer to tell you more on the data collection and all the numbers and stuff, but happy to answer any questions. Yes, sir. Yes, so the question was, is the person doing the in-house work on our database and our web map, is he the same person that does our web map? And the answer is yes. So the district has invested in a local staff person. He fixes my email all the time. He's really great. But he's the one that builds these things from scratch. And the cool thing has been, we actually implemented this online website in round 2. Round 1 was fully paper. And I was blessed. If someone asked me to send a fax, and I didn't know how to send a fax. I'm a millennial. So this round 2 and round 3 were a lot easier because we didn't have to deal with as much paperwork. But he's actually been able to build this. But because we have him in-house, we've been able to mitigate problems and make this more tailored to producers because we can make those tweaks really fast, and he's able to be a lot more customer friendly with them. Anyone else? Well, thank you guys so much.